In this video, we're going to look at my latest custom of the Ultraverse character, Sludge. If you've been to the channel before, you probably already know I'm a big Ultraverse fan, and I've been slowly making some customs with Ultraverse characters. This is one I definitely wanted to tackle because Sludge was one of my favorites. I just wanted to make sure, too, my skill level was at where it needed to be to tackle this guy, because he required a lot of sculpting with like organic looking slime dripping. I think I did pull it off pretty well. The base parts I use for this, the base is a Deluxe Marble Legends Toxin. I like the build, the bulk of the toxin body for Sludge, or the Monster Venom. This is the cheapest one you can get for on this build. It's like I resculpted the spine area. One of the things you see with Sludge in the artwork, you get that hunched over, you can like see like spine protrusions coming out. So I wanted to pull that off, and so completely resculpted the spine area. The shoulders were redone to have the dripping slime. All this, he's got slime dripping everywhere. The hands are actually from the Outback Hulk figure. I got one of these, a couple of these cheap from GameStop on there on clearance. So it's great for fodder for stuff like this. So I got a pair of grasping hands and fist hands for each side. I know which I sculpted the slime dripping down all the different hands. All of them look different from the others. And on the feet, I bought a fodder lot a long time ago. I had an armless one of these Hulks. These feet worked out great for Sludge, which those are resculpted with the slime dripping as well. With all the sculpting on here, I used various materials to sculpt this. I used two different types of Aves. I used Fix-It Sculpt and Epoxy Sculpt. And I used Procreate and Green Stuff. I was trying different materials to see which one would be the best to help sculpting the dripping slime. A lot of the dripping areas, like on the legs and stuff, I ended up doing like, I have extra sculpting material when I get through sculpting different areas. I would try to sculpt these little droplets, like teardrops or Prince Rupert looking tears, out of the excess epoxy sculpt and different sculpting materials. After they'll set up, I would glue them in place, then sculpt in like the blended areas where it looks like it's dripping down. Those worked out pretty well. They don't seem like all these are like that. Down here, for reference material, I actually pulled up pictures of the unreleased Galoob Sludge prototype from the old Ultraverse cartoon toy line. I used some of the reference pictures from that for inspiration, and I also I have multiple copies of the Sludge run. I think I have doubles of all those, and plus I have digital copies as well. So I was using those for reference to help sculpt Sludge. Oh, for the head. This was one where I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull it off or not. Actually, on my Instagram, I actually put out like a help request. I wanted to commission a 3D modeler sculptor printer, see if they could help me off this, but I never had any takers on that. So I ended up sculpting this one myself. I actually ended up liking the results really well. The base head, I actually made a casting of the head I use for prying. It's the enlarged Hyperion head. And the one I started with had a defect, had an air bubble in the nose. So I was like, well, that's perfect. I just ground down all the hair. Then I started sculpting layers of slime. That's one of the things when sculpting this guy too. I had to do a lot of this stuff in stages. Like on the layered slime, like on the arms and the hands. Start with the bottom level, then go up. Let that set, go up. Let that set, go up. And so it's a laborious process. So like I say, when on the chest, sculpted the bigger slime areas here, then the extra slime here, same on all these areas through here. Was handy with the Toxin Monster Venom figure. The back is a separate piece, you can just pop off. So I made resculpting that with resculpted the slime dripping around the neck and up the top, and I resculpted the spine area. The Sludge had that hunchback look to him. For the paint job, it was actually really fun. The sculpting was a ton of work. Once I got done, though, I knew the paint job was going to be fun. First thing I did was prime the figure. Then I hit it with a base coat blue. It's like a purplish blue, which worked out great. It almost gives it like an iridescent look to the figure. After the base coat set, I applied a black wash to the figure. Then after the black wash dried, I started dry brushing different colors of blue. I started with a French blue. Then after dry brushing the French blue on the figure, I mixed up some lighter blue. I took just some white with the French blue and made a lighter blue, and then dry brushed that on, which gives a little more extra depth to the shading. The eyes. I was really happy with how the eyes turned out. We got, you can see the purplish blue from the inside. That's what the base color was. The eyes, if you can see them. On the channel, I have a eye painting tutorial. Very similar method I use to paint these. I painted the black line on top of the eye. Then I added whites of the eyes. And then over top the white, I put it like a real pale yellow over top the white. So then after that's set, I used some transparent red and some transparent yellow to make a real thin orange color. Added shading to the yellow. I took black, I painted circles for the outline of the irises. Then I used red to paint the irises. And then I painted the pupils in the spectral highlights. And they turned out really good. Of course, one of the things you want to do too when you're painting a figure, like a full color change like I did with this, I did a lot of clearancing. I took my Dremel and clearanced out the openings for the arm sockets. I prepped all the joints for the arms, legs, and clearanced out the hips areas. Even on the ab crunch section, I took a really fresh hobby blade and was just trimming the area on the ab crunch area for more clearance there on the front and the back. One thing too, I reshaped the back of the ab crunch on the Monster Venom. You can see that ab crunch opening. It is square. It doesn't look very good, especially if on black, it's not as noticeable. But where this is going to be blue, I want it to look more organic. So I took styrene and cut little pieces through here, filled in those gaps and rounded them out, sanded them down. Looks a little more organic. More slime dripping off his butt. Back to the legs. Everywhere I could think of, I put slime sculpt onto the figure. Let's do a quick size comparison with a couple figures. We have standard Bucky Cap. We have Loose Collector's Lady Death. And we have Madam Bob, which is also custom Ultraverse character. Let's move Bob here. And my custom Prime that I made. Oh no, like I mentioned before, I am super happy how this turned out. Loved the Sludge comics back in the day. I knew I wanted to do this, and I'm so happy with how well this turned out. I actually lucked up and got the perfect base of the blue. I've been trying to find a good blue for the base to start with, because like I said, I wanted to have it a little bit iridescent looking shading to it without being too shiny. Oh, that's one of the things too with the finish too. I didn't want it to be super shiny. To me, an all glossy figure, even though that might work for the character, sometimes it makes a figure look cheap, or I don't know, it just don't look right. But I did with I sealed it with a automotive top coat, hit it with some dual coat, then a semi-gloss. I love it's got a sheen to it, shimmer to it, but not too shiny. He still looks nasty and slimy. Just the way Sludge should look. But thank you for taking the time to watch the video. If you have any questions, please ask them down below. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time.